self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are conversation con artists. What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red.
And we are Conversation Con Artists, back for another wonderful, fantastic episode. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. MISTER_on point, and on TikTok at ADB Talking and ADB Eating.
And I can be found on Instagram at Red_Calamity. If you have a question, comment, read letter that you would like for us to respond to on the show, you can send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartist@gmail.com, or you can find us on the aforementioned social media. But we have a guest today.
We have a guest with his own in-person listener letter. You and Michael probably have competed for who done sent us the most listener letters. We ain't keeping no number up or nothing like that, but I feel like you up there because you done had more meat puns and meat topics to give Red this stank face than anything else. So Collin is with us today, y'all. What's going on, man?
Yeah, the same old. So getting into these summer months. So we had a little, during that little pre-show, talking about the weather a little bit. And, we also did talk about the meat pun for the listener letter. I already told Red today. I'm just going to go, if we go through the notes, I'm not going to do that to the people, Red. So I'm going to keep that one in the pre-show.
No, what? Well, if I had to suffer, they should suffer too.
Okay, then they're going to suffer then. So that's what they're good. So, but yeah, happy to be here as always. So we can get started talking about stuff whenever you're ready.
All right. Run it up. Collin, what Collin about to do is give us a little insight to his thoughts from the last, whatever episodes, and we're going to run that conversation before we get into the Reddit letters from Red.
Yeah, it's going to be quick because I want to talk about that, and I know we got some other, stuff to talk about with like the AI and some other. I want to talk about Reddit and third-party API stuff too. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, so all right. So the first one was for episode 313, and as I was saying before, y'all were talking about the new Zelda game on the Switch, which is great. Spent way too much time playing that lately, or maybe not enough time if you ask me. Zelda has always been my all-time favorite game franchise. So I have played and beaten every single one, including the bootleg versions that were on, I think it was it used to be like some game console called the CDI or something like that, like way back in the day. There were some bootleg Zelda games. I even found those through emulation back when I was a teenager, played through those too. So, but
how far into the game are you?
So the thing about Zelda, as you were saying before, is I've probably been playing it for over 50 hours, I think, and I've only done one temple, the Wind Temple, because every time I'm out there walking around or riding my horse or something, I'll see something and be like, oh, I want to go check that out, and then I go check it out, and then I'm like, well, wait, I think I was supposed to be going to the water temple. Oh, well, I'll get to that. I'll do that after this, and then you do that. Then you see a shrine, you're like, ooh, let me knock out that shrine real quick, and then you do that. Then you come out the shrine and you're looking in the periscope or the binoculars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, well, let me try to get to that shrine over there too. So next thing you know, you've been playing for 4 hours and you got a bunch of stuff done, but also got nothing done. So that's why 25% through. I think there's 4 temples, so technically, but I've been playing it for probably I think I was looking, it was over 45 hours on my Switch or something like that. So yeah, but a lot of fun. And that's where this letter comes from, which was The Legend of Positivity, Meat of the King. It was for episode 313. So
phenomenal name.
So but this was the episode where I just wrote, because I don't remember the exact details, but there was a letter about a 20-year-old who was living at home and leaving the nest or something like that. And I think y'all were saying that it's really important to let kids be kids as long as possible. I definitely agree with that. Talking about I think he was talking about finances and stuff too.
That may have been, was that the one where the parent was making them pay a
Maybe
parenting fee or some shit?
that was like, I remember listening to that too, and I was like, this is some of the dumbest shit that I've ever heard. Not as dumb as that submarine, which we're gonna talk about today. But I just said I try to teach my, I'm gonna try to teach my little boy like finances the same way one day, and like I wrote like if they have to pay for something, that I'm gonna try to be able to save like what they pay. Like if I loan him some money or like something else, right? Try to like when he pays back or otherwise like save it, and then when he's done, kind of like give it back and be like, now see, this is why it's important to save money because you basically reward yourself as a way to like try to like as a surprise, obviously, like
Mm-hmm.
not up front, but like after you get done paying it, then you get it refunded, or if he saves a certain amount to buy a car when he was 16, and then I can match the savings and be like, this is why it's important to save. This is the type of reward that you get from making sure that you're taking care of your responsibilities as like a teaching moment. So that was that one. Oh, and I was gonna say on point. If you don't want no kids, man, you need to get that snip. That's the second. Minimal discomfort. That's what I wrote. Easy procedure, minimal discomfort, no worries. That's what I wrote. So that was a 10 out of 10 medical experience, probably the best medical experience I've had in my whole life. Um, and I know that my financial future is secure. I know that my mental health and my sanity is secure because my son is almost 4, which means he is maybe not almost out of diapers because that's a whole thing right now with him. But um, like if like talking about that, by the way, if anybody out there is a parent listening to this talking about potty training kids, if when you ask your kid, do you want to try to go pee pee in the toilet, and he is capable of pausing for a second, putting his little hand on his little chin, and saying, maybe next time. It's time to potty train, my man. Like, you you already know what you need to do. You know exactly what a toilet is for. I'm not allowed to flush my own toilet when he's around. He don't wait. Reed wants to flush. I want to flush the toilet. Like, so you know about how all this stuff works. But when it's time for you to put your waste in the toilet, suddenly all of a sudden it's maybe next time. Like one time he was running around after a bath because that's what something he likes to do. He likes to try to run away. So he's running around, no clothes on. He comes back to me, Daddy. I need a diaper. I said, well, you gotta go pee pee. He's like, yeah. I said, you got the toilet, man. Which by also, he has peed in the toilet several times before. So this is not like a completely foreign concept to him. Same thing. Oh no, maybe next time. I'm like, what you mean maybe next time? Like you, so you say all that. You're potty trained. You're just making a choice to like control something that you want to control. So it's all good. So I just keep. All I do is like he says that I'm like, all right, man, maybe next time. And then one day, maybe the next time he'll just decide that's it, and then so that's what he did about wearing pants and shorts. He didn't want to wear shorts when it was hot outside.
It could be an intentional desire for control. It could be an unintentional desire for closeness and affection in terms of somebody taking care of him to take it off and changing and stuff.
Oh no, he don't like that.
Oh, he changed his own diaper?
He don't want. I change him, but he
he don't like that. Okay.
Trying to tell me how to do it. Like that's
Oh.
Daddy, make sure you're gentle. Don't wipe too hard. Blah blah. I'm like, all right, man. Look, if you can say all that, you sit behind on the toilet, and then
that would be creepy to me.
And then be talking. I see it is when he has when he poops, he be talking about like, ooh, that's a lot of yucky poo poo. I'm like, yeah, man. If you sit on the toilet, then you don't have to. We can skip this part. Like, so yeah, but he's funny, man. Kids are funny as hell. But so that was that. I was like, and like I said, it was great procedure, 10 out of 10. The doctor out here, they actually, their website is www.drsnip.com. It's pretty fun. So the only thing I didn't like, you want to look at your vas specimen when like he was doing the procedure to snip it. Like, no, man, I don't want to look at that. Put that back. I don't want to look. Just tell me when it's over. Like, But yeah, Zelda. So the games that we're playing, we're talking about that. Zelda. I'm back and forth on Diablo 4. I haven't bought it yet. So I got a couple of people that play it, but I'm thinking about it. So, and then I was showing y'all about the ROG Ally recently, which is like a handheld PC. I think I can get Diablo 4 on that, and I think it's crossplay. So maybe that's what I'll do. So I have something to play on that, and I can take it on the road when I travel a lot. All right, episode 315 letter was Collin GPT. Was going to be the title of that one. So everybody's hyped about the Chat GPT. Am I the asshole? There's a guy in a relationship, the young physical therapist who lost her job. Fuck that guy. That was like I couldn't believe he was like, and I agree with you. He sounds like he's somebody who comes from some sort of like, probably some oil money or something like that, who somehow thinks that like if you're not pulling in six figures immediately that you're like a failure at life. That was like I can't believe that it was her. No, it was him that was posting like, am I the asshole? I'm like, yeah, man. By the time this podcast goes out, or by the time I finish listening to this podcast, I hope she left you because you sound like a dickhead. The teacher with the past, she did some modeling photos. I'm mad at everybody on that one. Man. Not the teacher. I'm the only person I'm not mad at is the teacher, because we in this world. We talk. Also, I want to talk about Zion Williamson, but we in this world, like, you know, speaking of like sex work, sex positivity, sex work, right? We're trying to modernize that in the United States, and we're apparently still living in the Stone Age when it comes to that type of stuff. And like, you know, if somebody's chosen that, which also, by the way, modeling, nude or otherwise, just photos, is pretty lightweight sex work. All right, so it was like that's the part where I'm like, I'm mad at everybody about this, especially mad at the school board for firing somebody over something that you didn't even know about otherwise, unless somebody was out here snitching. So, and then I hope she left his ass too. Like, so, let's see. So that's about it. Those are the only ones from those. Yeah. So okay, we can get into. I know Red's got some good ones. So you always got the good ones. I'm ready.
I was gonna say that, like, y'all, I don't play Zelda. I'm not gonna play Zelda after I done seen some of them puzzles that y'all asses be doing on that game. I ain't playing that shit.
That's what makes it fun.
I feel like you have to have a history of Zelda puzzles to look at a puzzle today and be like, oh yeah, I can do that. I looked at that puzzle and was like, ain't no way in hell I'm finna be trying to figure this shit out y'all doing. But TikTok be showing videos, and I be watching the impossible shit they do. And I told Red that I saw a Gleeok, and at first Red said, "But I don't fuck with no Gleeoks." And then she eventually said, "I beat a Gleeok." And I was like, I saw a video of a dude that said, "I'm gonna defeat this Gleeok before I hit the ground," which he did. And I was like, overachieving ass. But the last video I saw, another thing is, I saw a video of a guy put together like 10 of them different like machines with the 4 wheels on it and made a transformer looking thing, and it was just shooting lasers out at people or something like that.
People been
I'm like,
making
okay, so I didn't know you
crazy
could do shit like this. But the last video I saw that would have irritated me is this dude spent 30 minutes flying up as high as you can to get to the highest point on the game. And he got up there, and when he got above the point, he jumped off of it. The thing flew, hit the thing that he was trying to jump on, hit him, knocked him back, and he fell all the way down. I was like, bro, that's the kind of shit that will make me cut the game off and not play it no more. That's what would happen with that. Because that's what happened with Final Fantasy VII for me. Something happened in that game, and I broke the disc by accident, but I broke it. But yeah.
I mean, even if you have because the mechanics are a little bit different, even if you played like Breath of the Wild, you didn't make these machines and stuff like that. You didn't have that ability. Right. So like that's new, and everybody's having to like newly figure out how to do that. Because for the longest time, I kept forgetting I had like some of the new powers that would help me, and I like did shit much harder because I forgot I could use certain powers. But yeah, I still say fuck Gleeoks, but I can kill them now because I know what to do, but still fuck them because they're trash. Them and the Lionels. Lionels are trash as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, Breath of the Wild, those were my bane of my existence. The
they going to still be your bane.
Them things were no joke, man. And like, there was one that was reasonably easy to defeat kind of toward the beginning of the last game, but Anytime I'd be like exploring, I'd be like, man, there's like nothing around here. And then you'd be walking, and then you see that fucking centaur standing off in the distance. I'd be like, no, let me go ahead and turn
Nope.
around.
Yep.
Like, even though I know he's gonna drop some fire loot, I'm like, nope, let me go ahead and just turn my ass around. I'm not about to get my ass beat. All 22 of my stars gone in one hit. I ain't doing that. So,
Yeah.
or 22 of my
What's
heart.
the longest fight y'all been in on the game?
It took me about 45 minutes to beat a line out one, like 45 real life minutes.
Hell no.
Trying to dodge, trying to make sure I could try to get the arrows, ran out of arrows, you know what I mean? Trying to pick up sticks, items, weapons done broke, like, all sorts of stuff.
I got you.
Probably about 45 minutes. Actually, cause so I have Diablo, but I'm just into Zelda. So I've only played very briefly Diablo and went back to Zelda. So I gotta get a big dent in Zelda, I think, before I'm gonna really want to play Diablo. But without giving spoilers, there is a place in the game, I'm not gonna say where it is, where you end up needing to fight 5 Lionels.
Hell no.
And I didn't know. I just wandered up to this place and
Absolutely.
and I didn't know it was 5, so I beat the first, and I was like, "Bitch, that's right." And then another one came, and I was like, "Okay." And then I beat that one, and then a third one came, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? How did I get over?" But then I could have left, but I was like, "No, fuck that," because I'm thinking the third one was gonna be the last one, right? So like, go back in, beat the third one, a fucking fourth one. Cause I was like, you know what? But I did. I beat all 5 of them. It probably took me 45 minutes to an hour. But I was so livid, and my poor dog. He'll like randomly decide he wants some attention, and he was like sniffing at my arm, and I was like, "Get the fuck off of me! I gotta pee." So yeah, that was probably the longest battle because one, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't realize how many of them it was going to be. And I don't think the reward that you get for finishing that, I don't think it's worth it. I'm gonna just say that it was not. Fuck, the drops from the Lionels were cool, but the reward for like beating the 5 Lionels, I was pissed. I was like, "This is it." I just spent an hour of my life doing this shit, and this is all I got to show for it. So yeah, Lionels are terrible.
You should try it though on point. It's fun. It's fun. It's the only game I've played in recent memory too, and mostly because like I said, I've been playing them forever. But it's right now I'm kind of like with Red on it a little bit. Like it's the only game I'm really enjoying playing right now. I play a lot of Destiny on my PlayStation. I have for now 10 years now. The game's been like kind of like World of Warcraft style like community for like 10 years, and like it's become a little bit of a slog lately. It's not as fun anymore. Whereas when I play Zelda, I feel like I'm 10 years old all over again. It's a lot of fun. So,
That's what's up. I'm watching it. I don't know what would make me pick it up.
I think if you actually played it, you would enjoy it. And it is one of those games where like you can go in and say, "I'm gonna do this," but it's like I don't even want to know what it would be like if I actually had ADHD, because that game gives you ADHD. Like, ooh, shiny, ooh, over there, ooh, like it just because there's so much.
They design it like that on purpose, right? Kind of like to get you like it's really like it's truly the only game I've played in a long time where you see a mountain in the distance and you can climb that shit all the way to the top. Like, and it might take you, maybe not in real life mountain climbing time, but in video game mountain climbing time, like, you're gonna climb that. It's gonna take you to get up to the top of that mountain. You know what I mean? And there might be something up there. That's the other thing too. It's not like other games where you go off in the distance or see some little island floating in the ocean out there and be like, man, if I can make it, I wonder if I'm on that island, if I make it over there, there might be some good shit on that island when you get there. That's the other part too. So
it sounds like that's a game that has found a good balance between giving you reasons to explore and challenging that exploration. Because if you're looking over here like, ooh, ability of having a good enough outcome that they all are potentially worth exploring. Now, I like when games find that balance. because some games like Uncharted or some shit, like Uncharted, they be having treasures all over the place and they don't fucking do shit except give
Right.
the people who like to collect all the shit in the game something to do, you know. And so after like the first act or two, you be like, these shits don't do shit. Don't give me no levels. It don't make me. It don't help nothing. So in some games where you find out I'm not going to collect shit in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Horizon Zero Dawn does a good job at the collectibles. They equal something, like, but you got to get all of them, and that my problem is I'm not a completionist. I don't give a fuck about getting all of nothing. But in this one, I played the DLC and the main game together, and so in the DLC, I went to collect everything because I was like, it's just a small DLC. I mean, they ain't gonna make it hard to get everything, right? And it wasn't as easy as it should have been. But I'm proud of myself for getting all the collectibles on that, which I never do. But it was worth it because I got some shit that I wasn't gonna get no other way. But um, kids too. Red, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when that's your child that want that attention and you just defeated 4 linos and trying to finish?
We have this
You feel
conversation.
like you feel I don't know, like the version of you, if you have kids, the version of you that we have now, it's gonna be vastly. I feel like it's gonna be vastly different.
It will be
It
like,
has to be.
yeah, like again, because we've talked about this before. Remy has no fucking clue what I'm saying, and even when I was like, get off me, he was still like I'm trying to play with him. So it didn't make a fucking difference. He's so frustrated. Um, but with a kid, and I think the difference is I've given myself all of this time to just be this way. And so like if I have a kid and I have to uh not be as selfish as I'm able to be now, I feel like I'm gonna be all right with it because I done had so much selfish time that I'm cool with it. But I don't have to not be selfish right now. So why the fuck would I not be? Like I don't have nobody that I'm responsible for, so I can sit and play Zelda for 4 or 5 hours and yell at my dog if he get in my face because I ain't got nothing else to do. But if I had a kid that was like crying, obviously, and wanting attention, then I would have to put the game down. So I think I'll be okay just because I've had so much time to be this way. Like I've enjoyed my selfish time.
Well, I'm
Still
ready.
enjoying that shit.
I'm ready because all I'm gonna do is talk shit in reference to the old Red. I don't know. I got plenty of time to think of a name. I imagine Red 2.0. You know this Red 2.0 different as fuck. You know,
Yeah.
about 2 years ago, you were about ready to punch Remy in the face for interrupting your game. You done grew.
Yeah.
You've grown.
When I tell you he's so frustrated sometimes because I have been playing for the longest time and then I'm fighting these fucking Lionels and this is when you tapping my fucking shoulder. And I need this hand to hit these buttons so that the Lionel doesn't. So yeah, I think because I've given myself time and allowed myself to like just be how I am, it won't be as difficult. I don't think because I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed being able to be this way. So and that's a if. I don't even fucking know if I'm gonna have any kids. That's a big ass if. If that were to occur, um, I think I'd be okay. Especially because doing therapy and having like not little kid clients because I can't stand them, but like adolescent clients. Like I think I'll be okay. It'll be an adjustment, but it's an adjustment that I think that I will be able to make easily because, like I said, I've been this way for about 38 years now. Enjoyed
Man,
the hell out of it.
I like little kids. I'm okay with all kids. I'll just tell you this. All parents got some level of fucking audacity at the point that they come to see the therapist.
Yes, that is true.
And I'm like, bruh. And when I meet parents, it's to the point where I have to let parents know because this is like my way to filter out parents who ain't about that business. Because I was talking to a lady the other day. She said, I need somebody to see my son. He talking about hurting himself and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, I want to let you know I'm very hard on parents. I'm very critical of the stuff y'all do. I end up walking into families with the old school mentality where they don't allow their child to talk that much. Their children don't ever talk to them. And I just kept listening to stuff. And she was like, you talking to me. You talking directly to me. And then they'd be like, that's how I know that you the one he's supposed to be working with. And I said, I'm going to let you know. there's some things that I be saying that old school parents need to do that is not going to be congruent with what you want to do. But I'm just going to be telling you what to do for the results. And she was like, I'm on board. And so it's like, that's my way of holding parents accountable for not, for knowing what's about to come their way in terms of what to do. Because you're not finna hand your 16-year-old off to me and be like, fix them. And you 70% of the reason why they like the fuck the way they are. So
Yeah, that fix 'em mentality is so frustrating. Like the kid is the only problem. I've never had a kid where the kid was the only problem. Like it was him responding to the environment. A lot of things usually will need to change, but the parent is like, here, fix them and get them to do what I want them to do. Like that is not how that works. That is not how that works.
and I always hit my parents with this because I did it the other day. Because I be trying to assess if they've been having regular, non-pressure filled, non-directive conversation with their kids. And I said, do you know what his favorite color is? She said, no. And I was like, well, I do. And she's like, what is it? I said, I ain't going to tell you because you need to be having a conversation with him about these things instead of him asking me to answer to the question. Every time I've done that, the parent be a little embarrassed because like I know something about their child that they don't know, but it do be a motivating push for them to start actually having dialogue with their kids. Because this kid's 16-year-old and he's socially awkward. He ain't got no, or he got no social conversation skills. Me and him had a conversation and he got thoughts. He can have a conversation, but if your parents ain't having regular ass conversations with you, letting you flesh your own way of thinking and your thoughts out, then I mean, you it's gonna be you got to have an internal built-in level of charisma to go and get that out in the environment, and most people ain't got that. But yeah, I appreciate that those live in person from Collin letters and the input and everything. Um, but we can get to the unless if you got some of the feedback for anything we said, we can get into the regular letters.
No, I just Red kind of right though. Because I was like first thinking like, oh man, my life's over as I know it, blah blah blah, because I got a kid on the way and blah blah blah. But, well, you figure it out. Things change a little bit. So, but I only have one. That's a. So,
Oh, if I have any, it's gonna be one. I'm almost 40. We're not
yeah,
doing that.
that's the
Just
limit.
I wouldn't say that too many more times, Red,
what you mean?
because the universe is gonna give you some twins or some
I
triplets.
would be mad as a
That
mother.
don't
You
don't
hear
keep
me?
saying
I
that.
would be in the doctor's office like, no, no. You need to take one of them out. I'm only taking one home. I don't care what you do with the other one or others, but I'm taking one baby home because that is what I signed up for was one baby. Now the rest of them, good luck finding homes.
You saying it the way you said it created a universe where one or the other happens. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they find the infinity gauntlet so you can snap your fingers.
Mm-mm.
Well, after you have twins and find the infinity gauntlet, what is the snap though? Like, are you killing the baby?
Yeah,
Like,
those
what are
things
you?
like that might not be. You gotta snap before. You need to snap before.
Well, that means you would have to have an infinity gauntlet chilling just in case this particular thing happened.
Right. Right.
I won't be able to do that. I've been to use it on some dumbass shit, like something for humanity.
Yeah, climate change. Something. Like, why would you use it like that when you can get crab legs with it? Or something.
Exactly. I don't know what bro. Whatever. Um, what you got, Red? Oh, what's the topic this week? You got a topic this week?
Yes, I do. It's co-workers.
Mm.
So these are work related. A
Oh,
lot of
man.
snitching ass people. Okay. There's
Of
like
course.
two that says, would I be the asshole for reporting my coworker? Am I the asshole for telling on my coworker? Mind your fucking business.
Depends on what they did. Depends on what.
Some business can't be minded.
Then I have this one. Would I be the asshole if I, a 40-year-old man, were to tell a friendly coworker, a 55-ish-year-old female, I sometimes commute by train with that I need to stop interacting with her because of how much she turns me on?
Let's do that one.
That's what I was about to say. Let's get into that. Let's get into
Because
that
you
one.
would be the asshole. Actually, you wouldn't be an asshole. You'd be a dumbass. But I need to hear this one.
It's not that long either. Okay. He said, I see her and chat with her mostly when we ride the train and walk from the station to work together, maybe once a week on average because our schedules are not the same. I, a married male who is quite unhappy with his sex life, have always found her fun and friendly and very good looking for her age, which is what other people also say about her. I am now starting to feel a strong attraction and don't want to continue to be the commute buddies as I feel distracted and in an unprofessional mindset after chatting with her. Would it be okay to tell her why I want to shut down our friendship? I don't want to make something up. I also feel it should be possible to have the discussion, not be uncomfortable, and maybe it could even be flattering for her. And okay, there is probably a part of me that is hoping the feeling will be mutual. Certainly not how I imagine things at this point, but it doesn't seem inconceivable, as I'm reasonably good looking and fit. I think. Honestly, I have no idea what would happen if she told me she was into me too. So would I be the asshole?
Man, listen, just like
You're
I
already an asshole for the thoughts.
listen, you know what this sounds like to me, and you guys are the therapists. So, but I think we share a lot of the same skills. This is like a separate conversation, be a tangent where like I feel like lawyers and therapists have a lot of the
Absolutely.
same intuition type of skill when it comes to dealing with humans because of like the experience that you have in seeing different circumstances and like different situations and how they apply and like human behaviors and all that kind of stuff, right? You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like somebody made all this shit up in his head and like also sounds like somebody who's probably not fit, probably not reasonably attractive, probably not like the way he describes himself. It reminds me of this little cartoon I used to see on the internet back in the day before we called them memes, and like it was like what women see in the mirror, and it was like a woman in her bra and panties, like a little drawing, a little cartoon, and she was looking in the mirror and she saw like a fat woman in the mirror, and it was like what men see, and it was like this like sloppy looking white guy with like he's like partially balding and all this other kind of stuff. And he's looking in the mirror and he sees like a bodybuilder in the mirror, you know what I mean, like flowing hair and all this other kind of stuff. Like everything that he said was centered on what he's thinking, and unless there's like an edit or something like that, it didn't sound like from that she's given any kind of indication whatsoever that there's any kind of she's your coworker and happens to ride the same train and just has a friendly chat on the way to work. Like, bro, that doesn't mean that she wants you. And I think you all probably see it a lot too. Like, that's how a lot of men think. We've just actually, speaking of that, I had a friend from college stop over. Her name is Jen too, with her kids, flying over to Korea today. And her and Monica were sitting here talking about like how dudes act basically. And I said, look, I'm not trying to mansplain anything to y'all, except I feel like I can mansplain men's behaviors because I am one. And I was like, what you guys are doing is like assigning a lot. You're giving dudes too much credit. You're giving men too much credit. Like they were talking about like how come men always like still be trying to talk to me even though I'm married and blah blah blah. I said because you're giving men too much credit. Like they don't care about any of that. People who ain't shit don't care about any of that. Oh, that's right. This dude said he's married too. Well, sir, you all the way out of pocket, man. Just like going ahead, ride to work, talk to your coworker like an adult, and then go into the bathroom stall and turn on Pornhub and beat your meat. So, matter of fact, you should beat your meat in the morning before you commute to work, so that you can get that post nut clarity, and then make sure that when you ain't being horny on your main account when you out there in public. You know what I mean? You need to get yourself a burner, sir. I don't know how that works in real life, but you need to, window shop, look and don't touch. So, because you would be the asshole, you are an asshole, and you're a dumbass. So,
So
The
this is
fact,
I'll go ahead, Red, and then
I
I
was
go
gonna say,
mine.
the fact that he thinks that she would be flattered. If some creepy ass married man came up to me and said, "Hey, we're just not going to be able to have these chats anymore because you're just too attractive and you're turning me on," I'm gonna probably knee him in the balls because now I feel in danger. Like that shit is creepy. That's not flattering. And the fact that you think that this is something that will be flattering to women lets me know what kind of husband you are to your wife and what your idea about women are. Because that's not flattering. There's nothing about that that's flattering. It's fucking creepy. You're a creep, sir. And if you tell her that, I would go straight to fucking HR. I would. I would absolutely go straight to, as soon as we got off the train, wouldn't even go to my desk. I would bypass my desk and go to HR because you're creepy and weird, flattering.
I think this is a representation of the common male fantasy when it comes to women that men have to condition themselves out of. I had a kid who I ended up working with one time, and he was just infatuated with this school drama stuff that was going on. And he said, there's some pretty girls in my school, and I know looking at the girls is wrong because they don't consent to you looking at them. And I said, oh, wait a minute, let's have a conversation about that. Because I don't think looking at people and thinking that they're beautiful needs consent. I think whatever you do to them in your head after that, that needs consent, right? Because you can look at somebody and acknowledge beauty, right? And it can stop there. It's like, oh, because that's how I am. That's what I do. I'll look at somebody and be like, that is a specimen there, and then I like keep it moving. In my head, I don't be like, oh, I wonder what it feel like to slap that ass, or man, what if she like me? This is how dudes be. Dudes, the eyes turn into the little predator eyes, and it's a little glow, and you see them in the shadows, just pull up from nowhere. Hey, queen, how you doing? That's what happened.
That lizard
That's
brain.
what happened. A whole pathway of his own brain took him to, I can get something from her, and that's from patriarchy, that's from misogyny, that's from sexism. Mm-hmm. And what's happened is he's created a whole scenario in his head based off of that, and he think it's honorable to be acknowledging it and saying that because I have these thoughts, I should remove myself from you, and it's really kind of your fault because you shouldn't be this attractive. And so let's say that all of the things are true. He created a scenario, and I think more than anything, I feel like he wants some people in here to tell him you should do it. There's no part of this letter that make me feel like he don't want to do this. He is using a bunch of different words to validate why we should just say go ahead and tell her, And not only that, he don't want to not engage with her. He want her to say, well, I do find you attractive, and I know you're married, but we can still be free. That's what he wants. That's what the kind of man that would think like that, the kind of man that would present this shit like that. This is what he wants, and he probably only need a few people to validate him. Even though it's a ton of women gonna say, "Shut the fuck up, creep, leave that goddamn lady alone. Go fucking hug your wife, or or your wife go leave his motherfucking ass." But nonetheless, this is a common male fantasy that be fucking going on, man. And again, if you the dude that don't have the male fantasy, it's a bunch of dudes around you having the male fantasy. And it might not go over to the realm of like dangerous and shit. It might not even go over to the realm of I'm gonna go talk to this woman, but it is yet rooted in patriarchy and entitlement that come from men. And this letter sounds like that. It don't sound like he's dangerous enough to probably like snatch a woman up because her physical beauty is making him horny enough to want to do something to her without her permission, which is rooted in the same male fantasy, mind you. It's just the level that this guy is stopping at. Fuck you, you the asshole.
I just, this is why, like, I have to be so cognizant of having conversations with men just in general, because it is kind of shit. And I know, dude, I think I told this story before, like when I was at the DMV and the dude offered me his seat and I was like, "No, I'm good." And he got fucking mad at me for not taking the seat. That's what it's like. First of all, your response is why I didn't take it. And I don't know if I accept something from a man, whether or not he's going to feel entitled to a phone number, a conversation. If I sit in this seat, what is it that you're going to want from me? And men like this poster is why women have to think in those terms. Like, I don't know, because you can take me being nice for me being interested in you, and now we got a problem. Like, I ain't nobody trying to deal with that. And this is why we just, most of the time, I keep my head down If I'm in Walmart to buy milk, I'm here to buy milk. I'm not smiling. Don't come up to me and ask me like you need to smile more. Shut the fuck up.
That
I'm here
man
to buy
created a
milk.
whole look. When that man saw you and he was in the seat, the fantasy he created was, I'm gonna get up. First off, he said you're attractive because if Precious walked in there, he probably went finna office Precious that seat. Okay, so he saw you, said, "Damn, she attractive with that red ass hair. She probably want this seat. She gonna sit down. She gonna be grateful that I gave up my seat. She gonna see me as a gentleman, and then I'm gonna, start talking to her, put this game on her, and then I'm gonna get her number." He created that whole fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
and he enacted that plan, and the shit went south. And he had to reckon with the fact that the plan that he made fucked him up.
He was mad.
And he got mad, which shows that he was never genuine in the first place. He did the shit to get something back.
He called me uppity. It's like I'm uppity because I want to sit in your fucking seat. First of all, I'm not even finna stay in this motherfucker because the line too long. Secondly, even if I was gonna
Yeah.
stay, no thanks.
Yeah, the DMV. I ain't trying to sit down. Look. I'm trying to get. I don't even want to be here in the first place. Look. So I'm not trying to get comfortable. I'm trying to get this whatever I need, my license, whatever it is, and tags, car tags, whatever, stickers, whatever reason you got to go there instead they can't just mail the shit to my house. You know what I mean? So no,
Yeah.
nasty.
Ridiculous. Like I said, most of them are like people
Well, I
snitching or
mean,
wanting.
the beautiful part gonna be what they snitching about. So run
Yeah.
two of them for whatever reason.
Okay, well, one specifically says, "Am I the asshole for telling my friend her wife doesn't wear her wedding ring at work? Why would you do that? Mind your
What if she don't wear it at all, right? I mean, but I'm assuming that she wears it.
and then isn't wearing it at work."
Could be a reason for that. Could be actually a smart reason for that. Maybe she's trying to actually then use that patriarchy against dumbass men who think she's single, right? Trying to take
That's a
advantage.
dangerous line. That's a dangerous line to walk.
So, but
But there could be. But that the fucked up
Oh,
part is
they're
that.
lesbian. They're lesbians, so there is not a man
Well,
in
I
this
mean, it
story.
don't change that she can use patriarchy against. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
that she can still use patriarchy against men by being a lesbian, but being in an environment where men don't know that she's a lesbian and don't know that she married. Like you can use patriarchy against
she's trying to
the
climb that
men.
corporate ladder. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
But at some point, you may be in a boss office and he be like, "Hey, you want to do something strange for some promotions?"
Jesus.
You might not want to. It's a fine. That line is patriarchy is dangerous. Like you can't. And I be telling men like wielding patriarchy is not a power that you can control. So if you try to use it on purpose, it can have unpredictable results. So for men or women who use it on purpose, it can shit on you.
Hmm.
So not
What's
a
the
not
other
a
one?
cool, not a good line to walk necessarily.
Or we gonna do both of them? Or what's the other one? Kind of. What are they thinking about?
Uh, I can't tell because I didn't read them. So one seems like one person works in the restaurant field from the first line. The other one works in the healthcare field, but both of them snitching.
You say restaurant?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got to do that one.
Yeah, they are messy.
I
Okay.
mean, cause listen, the restaurant industry is fucked up. If you somebody snitching on you, you doing some heinous shit. You doing some fuck. I
Most
feel like
likely.
you doing some unsanitary shit. But like, let's see what they talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So, am I the asshole for telling on my coworker? I'm a 24-year-old female, and my coworker Evan worked at a restaurant, and we've been working together for 2 years with no problems. Like he even went to my wedding. He even walked me down the aisle when my father was in the hospital. And you snitching on him? On Thursday there was a group of 12 that came in that ordered, and one of those people was an old high school friend. She said Kimmy, who was 7 months pregnant, and when Evan went to take their order, she asked for alcohol, and he refused to give her alcohol, saying she was pregnant and didn't have an ID, and it caused a problem. And then they all left saying it's discrimination. I told my manager about the situation, and they said that they would talk to Evan about it. And then my coworker started calling me snitch, and Evan blocked my number and me on Instagram now, and has texted my brother to tell me he's not coming to my birthday. chefs said that they aren't going to give me food anymore for free and that I'll have to pay for it. My mom said I overreacted, but I don't think I did.
So the person who's telling the story told him that Evan said that a pregnant woman with no
Her
ID couldn't
friend,
have
yeah,
alcohol.
yes.
And Evan's the friend.
Evan
Evan's
is a friend
coworker.
of
He
hers,
just
and so is the pregnant lady.
Oh,
She knows
Evan's
the pregnant
coworker.
lady too.
what you say,
Yeah,
Collin?
Evan's the coworker, right?
Yeah, Evan's the coworker that she snitched on, and then Kimmy is the pregnant lady that she also knows.
But how did she snitch though? I'm trying to understand what did they consider
She
snitching?
told the manager that Evan wouldn't serve the pregnant woman with no ID alcohol. She
How,
wasn't gonna get the
wait,
alcohol no way.
No,
yeah, how's
but
that? I'm trying to struggle how these people think that somebody snitched. Like I don't.
well, I mean, he didn't get in trouble because it wasn't nothing for her to get in trouble for, but she went and told. So I think they're just like, oh, this what you do. You gonna go tell it.
She said she's 24. This sounds like some 24-year-old shit.
She's
Like,
24.
Yeah, this is
like
a mind your business. Like it's
I feel like they're manufacturing the snitching scenario when like everybody involved did the right thing. It sounds like to me. He refused to serve somebody who didn't have ID. Leave out the pregnant part. Didn't have ID. Didn't want to serve him alcohol. And she went and told the manager like, yeah, he wouldn't serve him because they didn't have an ID, and she was like 7 months pregnant or whatever. Like I don't feel like that's just giving the manager information about what happened, and then I don't.
Well, she reported, so
so
she
okay. This is what happened. When
she was
she
saying that
told the
like she did
manager,
something wrong.
she thought that something went wrong enough
Yeah.
for her to let the management know.
Yeah, she wasn't just like conveying what happened. She was reporting him because she thought he was gonna get in trouble.
Oh, she was
But
like, yeah, you. So she was basically like, what's wrong with you? She want to get fetal alcohol syndrome. Let her do it. It's like,
But see that this gets to the complicated part because let's add the pregnancy and take away the ID. Let's say they had an ID because we dealt with this at Red Lobster. Every now and then there will be a pregnant person coming in asking for a beer. Now the reality is we are just presuming that they pregnant because they got some kind of like most women who pregnant at a certain point is at a point where they may you from your perspective they could be pregnant but they could also be built like this to a degree and it looked like that and so if a woman like that comes into there and asks for a drink technically we ain't supposed to say you can't have a drink like
you can't
and
refuse
it's
service.
not something
Like you can't just refuse service. Just say like, sorry, we're not serving you.
not on the presumption that they are pregnant if they're not. Now, if they clearly sitting out there with their belly sitting on the table, clearly like yes, but a manager supposed to handle that. We can't go handle that. And it's not in your best interest to go handle that because I used to always say at Red Lobster, look, this shit above my pay grade because I ain't finna fuck my tip up telling them some shit that y'all gonna fix later. Because a manager, you'll be like, we can't do that. And then the manager will come out there and be like, we'll do it for him, Ed, go ahead. And I'd be like, you just made me look stupid as hell because I said we can't do it. Now I look like I'm a dick to you and I fucked up my tip now. So I'd be like, let's ask a manager first. I'm not telling you whether you can. The manager told me we could do everything within fucking reason. So let's get them in on this first. But yeah, we not supposed to deny service on our own suspicions that they pregnant at a certain point. And if they are pregnant, we can't do it. We have to go get management to do it because in some instances it may be management. If they are insistent about it, it may be management having to escort them out because it's like we would rather lose your business than be traced back to some alcohol related issue that jeopardized you and your kids, be it an accident or be it you coming back several years later saying this fetal alcohol syndrome is y'all fault. But the ID part is enough to be like, why the fuck you tell like he did his job correctly. He obeyed the law in his job as well. So
well, I mean, I was gonna say, and snitching on coworkers that you have to work with regularly is not. You don't want to be the workplace snitch, like because now everybody gonna feel like don't do nothing around her because she gonna go back to the manager. Like, and this was an unnecessary ass example of you doing that. So like, if imagine somebody really doing some fucked up shit or doing something wrong, like And she acting like she's surprised the chef ain't gonna make your birthday dinner now because he don't want nothing to do with you. Don't nobody want to be around the
They
snitch.
must work at an Italian restaurant, goddamn.
Or
They
she, or
must
she,
work at some place called Mafiosos, goddamn.
or she really
Like,
she really leaving out part of the story though, because that's like a really the whole staff now don't fuck with you. Like you didn't just report and be like, he didn't serve that alcohol.
Yeah, it probably was more to it than that.
Or this is the like straw that broke the camel's back. This is the 12th time you're trying to report somebody for some shit. So, but
yeah, that seemed like overkill for what she's saying she did. And if she did, if this is true, she's just stupid. If this is true, she don't know the rules. I don't know. Or maybe the situation was that maybe the situation was that the friend was so upset that she couldn't be served alcohol that she vented to her friend and was able to convince her that something Evan did was inappropriate in the situation. And then it just compelled them to go tell the manager as if it was an actual issue when it was really them mostly just advocating for their friend in that situation. That makes sense. They are still stupid in this scenario, but that makes sense.
Because I would have been like, girl, you don't need to be drinking no fucking alcohol anyway, first of all. Secondly, you ain't have your ID. Like, you're not going to talk me into fucking myself up at a place that I got to go to every day. Friend or not. You don't work with me, okay? You ain't going to be there with me when they giving me the worst tables because they mad at me or whatever the fuck. Like, no.
my ass because I served alcohol without checking ID. Like, you
Nah.
know,
And I'm gonna just let you know in the restaurant industry, when that happened, it's time to quit. It is time to quit.
yeah,
When you done lost the trust of like if people ain't finna walk food to your table, and if your table asks for a sauce or something, and you finna act like they never asked you, because it ain't your money. I mean, it ain't the person that they ask money, it's your money they fucking with. If you've lost the grace of all your coworkers, you need to fucking quit. Because the kitchen see your name on them tickets. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like it's time to quit. It's time to go find another job in Red Lobster. Because Red Lobster, me and my brother are two different levels of charismatic, right? My charisma is, I guess, a little bit more curated. His charisma is more natural. My brother could be late every goddamn day at Red Lobster, and it was fine. But it's a whole bunch of other workers and employees who came in late. They getting shit on immediately by the management. And it was me. I wasn't late though. It was just that like they just trusted me with everything. They trusted me with conversation and dialogue. They trusted me with tables. I when I went to Red Lobster, I had a good time. I had a good time going to Red Lobster because I knew that they were gonna take care of me. But that said, I've seen what it looked like when they stop fucking with you. When the manager stopped fucking with a bartender, they coming in and they checking up on all the things to see if you clean properly. They checking the date stickers to make sure the date stickers are right. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like you can't keep up with everything in the restaurant that you're supposed to keep up with. But you just know that there's a different level to when you are loved in the restaurant industry and when you are hated. And I done seen people who are loved and who are hated. And when you're hated, it is time to quit. It ain't no reason to stay there. Because what you finna do, you need to give it 2 weeks notice and go. Because if you stay, they're gonna make you leave. And it's gonna be on bad terms where you don't want to get a reference from them at some point. But yeah, time to quit. You still shouldn't have told on at that particular point. Um I'm trying to think if it's something that I don't think there's something that ever happened in a restaurant that I worked in that made me have to go and tell them what happened. I don't think I've had that experience. I'm trying to think of something.
Monica just
I
came
don't.
there. She said she got all kinds of stories because she used to work in restaurants a lot.
I
So
bet. I bet. But the first restaurant I worked in, the first Red Lobster I worked in, listen, I'm a good server. I'm efficient. I'm timely. I'm likable. I know how to talk to people. These are the I can multitask. This is the candidate for a bartender in restaurants like this. So we working behind the bar. It's me and two other people, and we working all day. And people are leaving $1 here and $1 there. At the end of the night, They hand me $120. And I'm like, they was like, this is the split. And I said, in my head, ain't nobody left us no goddamn $400 something in tips. You know, or $300, almost $400 in tips. What it turns out they was doing was they never charged for drinks. So if a drink costs $6, okay, let me know. If a drink costs $6 and Collin just bought a drink, and they put a $10 bill on the counter, they put the $10 bill in the drawer, give them $4, and then put $6 in the tip jar. So essentially, Red Lobster they never put the price of, they never rang the drink up. They essentially gave the alcohol away to the guest and just gave them change for a 10, but split the change between the guest and us. And this is how bartending worked in Montgomery. This is what they were doing. And it was one of them situations was like, do I say something about this? But I felt saying something about it was gonna get me fired because like the people in the bar are like the liked people. So I ain't say nothing. I just let it roll.
That's another conversation for another day.
It's another conversation. It's another conversation.
So, like,
but this is the first. This is like what came to mind when it's like.
How do they not? They don't count the alcohol. How do they not know? That's
it's hard to. It's hard to. I mean, it's hard to count alcohol. I mean, they have a very loose system of it. It's like bartenders write down your bottle loss, and it don't account for somebody who pour a shot with the stopper on it and then do a little bit more hit. So it's like essentially one bartender can be throwing out like, 20 or 30 more hits a day just based off the extra quarter that they put. And one bartender might put exactly how much. It's really no way to, one, monitor how much liquor they are using in a free pour system. Because if you go to like a billiards place or a place that's more serious, they might have the alcohol connected to a machine where they press a button and it tallies with how many buttons were pressed, in those kind of systems. But in a free pour system, you can't really tell. You can't. And for all businesses that have alcohol is run at a loss. And it could just be, I knocked over 2 bottles today. That happen all the time. Like dropping bottles of alcohol, it happens a lot. So I was like, bro, this some Wall Street looking at shit in here. But when I was way too new. I was way too new to tell them what had happened. Man, that's a little bitty ass cup.
Yeah, it's an espresso cup. No, I'm in Seattle, man.
Are you not supposed to drink a lot of espresso? Can you like? Is drinking too much? Is drinking amount in a regular cup bad, or is it that just how you do it?
Yeah, you do it in a small cup because it's highly concentrated.
Oh,
it's like a shot. So it'll get you right. It'll get you ready for your day. So.
Gotcha.
What else we got? We doing that one? We doing another one, or we're gonna talk about the?
It's up to you, Red.
That submarine.
We're an hour in.
Well, we're already an hour in, and no, we can go ahead and y'all can get to your combo.
Okay, Red. Everybody about to take her absence, because what's been happening, y'all, is at the end of the show when I give my whole little spiel about the news and stuff I got, Red ain't really got no input to give. And so it was different when we were like going back and forth between stories, but I really don't think so. I think that it felt like you were giving more input because you just had a story after mine, but I still feel like it was me mostly talking about some shit you don't care about and then going into the next story, and it just felt like we were going back and forth. But realistically, I think after like giving all this concentrated news at the end, I'm realizing I don't think you ever really inputted on the news that much. It just felt like the conversation was more fluid and more back and forth.
Yeah.
What news do you like? What do you keep up with in terms of what be going on?
I mean, I don't really really keep up with much. I do. I have been seeing the submarine stuff because that has been um funny. I know maybe that's wrong, but it was funny to me. They paid $250,000 to die. That's the most expensive death I've ever seen in my life. So I'll see stuff like that, but like I don't follow any like news outlets or anything. So like anything that I see, I'll just kind of run across it. It isn't me actively because it's all fucking bad, and I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't wanna fuck my day up, so I just don't. But I did see the submarine stuff, and you know, white people gonna white people,
I do
and
want
white people, and I know because there was I think they were Pakistani, the man and his son, but they white adjacent. Once you get to a certain level of money, I feel like you
Yeah.
white adjacent.
I'm with you on
So,
the news
shit.
outlets, so I don't follow anything. So I mean, I follow news. Like we talk a little bit about the Reddit stuff too, because I'm looking at that recording timer too. I want to make sure we only have no 3 hour episode, but we the that one so Reddit. The reason why is because Reddit is where I got most of my kept up with the news. Really, there are a couple of like subreddits, like the politics one for American politics, and then there was world news, and then I created like a little special feed on my third party app for news, and I could just hit that, check headlines to be able to kind of see what's going on, and then that was kind of the best way to do it. It's like a news aggregate thing, like kind of like the old RSS feed
Hmm.
back in the day.
So I follow this. I follow this YouTube channel called The Majority Report. Clearly it's left leaning. Um, but they really talk a lot of shit basically. But it's Sam Cedar. He be on MSNBC every now and then. But they haven't been advertising for any news outlets, and they just started advertising for a news outlet called Ground.News as a what it is it gives the news article and it breaks down the bias of each side in the article. So it'll show you the percentage of how many right-leaning websites have posted this and how many left-leaning websites have posted this. So when it comes to Hunter Biden stuff, it's like 100% right-leaning. And no nobody on the left. Well, the left now might be because Hunter Biden was actually charged with something, but it pretty much break down news and along party lines, and it identifies where the sides deviate in terms of why the right is reporting it in this way and why the left is reporting it in that way. And it's like it's been a good baseline for how to, like, I guess, discern the sides, because that's all you're trying to do when two people are telling a story, especially when it comes to politics, left and right. They curving the story some crazy way, and it's like this is helping me understand what ways they curving it. But we finna get into these stories, Red. Appreciate your feedback on that submarine thing, but um I guess catch you next time.
All right. Bye.
Holla. It's just the fellas now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ain't gonna run this bitch into the ground.
No, we get these
What you
quick.
want to get into first?
Let's talk about that submarine real quick because look, man, I I like to think that I'm a reasonably intelligent human being, and I feel very strongly that you are also a very intelligent human being. Let me ask you a question. If somebody walked up to you and said, "Hey, I made this little thing. Come check this thing out, and we're gonna go down 12,000 feet below the ocean to the Titanic, and I'm gonna need you to sign this waiver though." And the waiver pretty much says, um, "Hey, this submarine is not really like a real submarine, and there's a very high likelihood that you could die. And sign here and give me $250,000." You getting in there? You getting in that submarine?
Hell no.
That's what I'm saying, man. I don't.
Hell no.
I was describing this to like friends and stuff, and I was like, I'm pretty sure. I'm 37 years old, and since I've probably been like I can remember, let's call it 30 years. that I can remember things in life, right? And I was probably further back than that. That'd be 7 years old. I can remember stuff back when I was like 4 or 5 years old. But this got to be. I think this is the dumbest shit that I've seen in my entire life. Actually, I think it's actually of all the things that we've been through in our lifetimes, because we're about the same age. I think this is the dumbest shit that we've seen. I think this is even dumber than people voting Trump into office. And at least that one had, at least voting for Trump, those people at least were like, now it's dumb. Don't get me wrong, and it is because, but it was like racist doing racist things basically. Like it made sense. Like man runs for president, stands up there and says some racist stuff, so racists vote for him. That makes complete sense to me. And like given like the way our system is and how things have gone over the last several decades, like we arrived at that point. It all made sense to arrive at that point. The submarine makes no sense at all, man. It doesn't make that makes especially if you're a billionaire. When you can get on Google and find there's a dude who is part of some company that makes like commercial and scientific submarines for like called TritonSubs.com.
Mm-hmm.
This dude has built this. He's got a submarine now for sale that you can buy from their company that has been to the bottom of every low point of every ocean on Earth multiple times. It's rated for depths deeper than the Mariana Trench, like deeper than you can possibly get in the bottom of the ocean. And when they use this one, he actually had an excursion with his research team where in the time that they went to it's called the Challenger Deep in the bottom of the Mariana Trench. It's like 36,000 feet below sea level.
Mm-hmm.
They went down 6 times in one excursion, down to the bottom, back up, down to the bottom, back up, down to the bottom, collecting data, research. Like it's a real submarine. It's like a real one. They talk about how it's got a titanium hull. It's got right. You read about this one. It's got every single safety certification from European Union and the United States and rated for, you know what I mean? And so like if you're a billionaire, like I feel like this whole submarine thing is like a completely on point narrative for everything wrong with like our capitalist society right now, which is like rich people with money that is out of control, circumventing the rules with their money, and then dying as a result of it. It's actually the most poetic thing that could possibly happen, which is like, yeah, your money did not save you at all. Your billions upon billions of dollars did nothing for you as you were incinerated due to the air pressure and turned into goo or reduced to atoms and became fish food in a split second. Like it's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. I can't believe it. And then when you watch the videos of like this dude before, like giving people a tour of this little submersible or whatever, like there's one video I watched. He was like, yeah, he's like, the lights in here I bought from Camping World. I pretty much built this with off the shelf parts. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't even want to I wouldn't even want to swing a golf club with off the shelf parts. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like, why would you? It's a stupid.
Why are you making that a flex?
Right. It's the stupidest shit I've ever seen. And then this is the part that really got to me. So I was on Facebook. I posted that. I said, I think this might be the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like the more I read it, the more I learn about this. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. My 6th grade teacher, who is a science, STEM teacher, that's her thing. I guess this dude was from out here somewhere around Seattle, and he did some stuff for like the local marine research stuff. Like, he's a researcher.
Mm-hmm.
And she sent me this message talking about like, yeah, but he did some good stuff here in the Puget Sound, and I hope that, he's remembered for that instead. And I want to be like, Miss Goldfein, he ain't, I still call her Mrs. Goldfein, even though I'm 37 years old. I would be like, Miss Goldfein, I just gave her a thumbs up because I was like, I can't believe you in my DMs as my former 6th grade teacher who teaches science and technology and math. I can't believe you're sitting here trying to tell me, yeah, I hope that this dude is remembered for this instead of being probably the biggest dumbass of this century so far. I can't believe it.
I think dumbass. I think he is a dumbass. I think that gives him still too much credit because a lot of this was just straight negligence.
Yeah.
Like when you get to reading what happened, like literally 2 of the things that fucked him up were brought up to him by 2 different people that were fired. One of them was using fucking carbon fiber to make the thing instead of some hard metal. You used fiber. And the second one is not following the Coast Guard rules of going down and doing pressure tests before you take people down there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you fired people for them two things. And the way that the email was structured, it sounds like he's one of those regulation denying people. It's
Mm-hmm.
like regulations ain't necessary. We don't need regulations. Regulation is just, trying to take the ability from, the average creator away and keep us from being able to make things and create. This is why regulations exist.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's negligence. This is my question. I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think that these were stupid people with $1 billion, or do you think that the more money that you acquire past excess, you get stupider with the things you're willing to spend your money on? Because I was thinking like billionaires ain't just sitting in a room playing a Switch on the couch. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they got a fucking $1 billion. They got everything that is possible to be done on the planet Earth and outer space, clearly, and underwater at their disposal. Is it that money, the money that they earn, has created this level of frivolousness and lack of concern that they're looking for challenges and stuff to do with their money, or like were they just stupid with money anyway? What you think?
I think it's probably a combination of a little bit of both. Um, I think what you said probably resonates big time for some of these people, which is like Jeff Bezos, for example. I feel like some of these people, you get to these levels where like it's hard to like it's hard for us regular people to sit here and say like, man, I would never do some shit like that because who knows, right? Like you have that access to the whole the world over, and like there aren't a lot of people out there who are billionaires who are like taking up a lot of philanthropic endeavors. You know what I mean? Like trying to like use their money for good necessarily. Like we don't hear a ton about that. Other than like Jeff Bezos' ex-wife who tries to give away all of his money that she got from the divorce. But there's not a whole lot of that. You know what I'm saying? So like I feel like that maybe. So let's start with this one first. First of all, we two black people sitting here, two black men sitting here talking about this. So there's not a whole lot of black male billionaires anyway. So being able to see ourselves reflected in this type of thing is like we're kind of like like writing a story for a video game or something basically because like it's not a so it's hard to be able to compare it and say like that we would do the same thing. Most of the people that end up doing this type of stuff appear to be white folks and white dudes, and we already know that how they feel about manifest destiny and all this other type of stuff. Generational belief that they're supposed to be top of the pyramid, the food chain, or whatever you want to call it, right? So I feel like this is what I say. It's actually let me simplify it all the way down. I don't need no extra excitement in my life. So even if I had $1 billion, I would be sitting on the couch playing a Switch most of the time because life is already, as a black man, life is already plenty exciting as it is. Every time I leave my house, there's a chance that the police might kill me. Every time I leave my house, there's a chance somebody might call the police on me. I could get stopped by the police for driving the speed limit. I could any number of things, right? And
At this point, a regular ass white citizen can just damn think you a threat from at the door or pulling up in the driveway or running in the neighborhood they don't think you should be in, and that's shit too.
So I don't need to go looking for stuff for some adrenaline rush or some whatever, right? Like, it's just like but I feel like there's a lot of people that do that. Like I feel like they probably, like you said, I think the more and more money you get, there's like this, it becomes like a video game where you got to set the new high score. And you set that new high score by being one of the only billionaires to go to Titanic, or one of the only billionaires to climb Mount Everest, or to go to outer space, or
send a vehicle that your company own out of space like Elon Musk did.
like something, right? There's all these like things that they try to do to. I guess it's like you're right. When the world is literally your oyster. People say that little saying like the world's your oyster when it is actually because you have like unlimited money. I guess that's how it works. Maybe you cast aside all reality and like risk assessment and all of that. But so I think it's probably a combination. It's probably some stupidity involved, probably a metric ton of ego involved.
Yeah.
And then the only piece I don't feel bad for none of them people, by the way, except for the 19-year-old kid because the reports talking about how he was really scared about it, like didn't want to do it, but
Yeah.
trying to make his dad happy or whatever, and now he's
For
dead.
Father's Day,
So like,
yeah.
like that, like come on, man, like that's like so the only respite is that like it literally like there's a video I saw like I guess the way it works, the way that kind of pressure stuff works, like first thing that occurred was when the pressure breached that the air inside the pressure chamber would have been heated to the temperature of the surface of the sun. So
Mm-hmm.
they were immediately either not turned to ash into liquefied. And then when that thing implodes, it implodes like less than a nanosecond. All this happens less than like a nanosecond. So like that's the part that's just so wild to me is because you can't even like it's like imagine like existing and then immediately not existing like without any kind of you don't feel no pain you don't even they don't even know what happened basically they had no idea what happened they were going down to the Titanic and then they were basically deleted from the universe in a nanosecond and like I guess that's the only thing that can make you feel somewhat okay about the 19-year-old kid is that there was no suffering involved but the rest of them that dude like you said he was like a regulation denier or whatever he's like why we got all these regulations? Like, safety, who cares about safety? I care, especially, for me too. Also, like, first of all, I'm not getting on no submarine at all. I don't care if it's the U.S. Navy made it. Second of all, I ain't getting on no damn submarine. It's like step one, no submarines for Collin. Step two, no submarines for Collin. Step three, though, would be I'm certainly not getting in somebody's plastic minivan when I know that there's a real deep explorer who, like I said, their whole website, they got like they went, like I said, there's like 5 known deep points in 5 different oceans, and
I mean, and
they didn't took their shit and went to all of them, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like and when you see it too, you see the pictures of that one, it's like it looks like you would expect a super mega depth submarine vessel to look. It's got all the tech and all the stuff, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, yeah, that looks like a legitimate thing, and it's like it is legitimate, like the Navy, the Coast Guard, everybody's like, oh yeah, they got all their certs, they keep it up to date. You know what I mean? It's the latest, greatest, everything. Like, and then you got this dude out here talking about something like, yeah, I made it with parts from REI and Walmart or whatever. And I'm like,
I mean, and not to mention that they running this bitch with a Logitech controller.
that was the
Not to mention that you can't even see outside of the submarine. They got a fucking 20-inch Vizio in that bitch that you got to look at the shit on the Vizio. Not to mention that like ain't no kind of seating or security. They literally just send fucking
they
Indian
in there sitting
style is racist, y'all,
they
which is
in
what huh?
they in there sitting crisscross applesauce on the ground.
What I'm gonna say, Indian style is racist, y'all, and
That's why I said
white teachers
you
let
use
us get away with that a long time. So crisscross applesauce in that bitch with no seat belts, no security, no shit. Like it, like what if a fucking shark just rammed your shit? Like it's 3 concussions in that bitch now. You know what I'm saying? Like ain't nobody strapped in, and the way it
rammed it,
don't
it
have,
probably imploded. It would have probably already imploded if a shark
yeah,
was.
it has no navigation, and the way that they communicate with the people above is through text message.
Yep.
So like you would think a billionaire would be like the way that I should protect my money is to make sure this is a legitimate investment. Like one of those billionaires could have funded a solid device like the company
They
you
could have
talking about.
They could have bought one. They could have probably bought one for each of them and their friends to go together.
So what was it about this guy that made these that was so charismatic that got these billionaires to sit fucking crisscross applesauce in a little Logitech fueled ship ship device that you can't even see out of a window in?
I don't know. That's why I said this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen, man. All of it is dumb. There's no plausible explanation of how it can make sense. And like as a billionaire, $250,000 to go to the bottom of the ocean seems kind of cheap to me.
That is pennies.
It
It's
seems cheap.
pennies.
Like not even a million, like at least a million. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. This dumbest shit I've ever seen, man. For y'all on points working on his camera right now.
Yeah, I am. My camera just went out. Listen though, this is what I'm gonna say. I don't even like being in bodies of water where my feet can't touch the fucking ground, right? And if I'm in a body of water where it's possible that my feet don't touch the ground, I'm on the side where my feet do touch the ground. So I don't give no kind of fuck about no goddamn submarine. I really don't give a fuck about nothing. Bro, I ain't going farther out than 10 feet in the water if I'm on the beach. If ain't no sand under my feet, once that shit start hitting my beard, it's a wrap for me.
Turn around. Yeah,
Yes, I'm done. Because, it's let alone getting in the submarine, because one of my nightmares is being in the middle of the ocean. And I'm able to walk and just look around. And it's just all the creatures you've never seen in the ocean.
Yeah, I'm
terrifying. Good. It's just this around me. They ain't hostile. They just there. But it's fucking terrifying because it's so massive. And it fuels anxiety for me. So I don't want to be in no fucking submarine seeing this shit.
The ocean is both, like you said, terrifying, and it's really pretty. And it's so pretty that I can look at it from the beach. So I'll be sitting on the beach looking at the ocean. And now we definitely having camera difficulties now.
No, I just had to change my battery. So again, like I said, I have a camera, a Canon, and I have to change my battery out every hour if I record. So I bought a plug outlet that probably ain't, is not manufacturer approved, but it seemed to have about a 6-month life on it. Both of them lasted. So when that happens, I got to use my batteries. So the first hour covered that first battery, and the second hour gonna cover my second battery. Well, it might not be an hour, but this will get me through the rest of the show. And I already ordered another one online because the utility of it is too high.
Yeah.
To not have one, because I do streaming with this camera. Yep. I do my YouTube content with this camera, even though I done recorded a lot of it, ain't never posted any of it. It's coming. And I've been saying that for 3 years, but whatever. But yeah, so it is what it is.
I know we were going to talk about, I wanted to talk about Zion Williamson, but I think we're going to hold that. I want to hold that one. I need Red to be there for that one.
Before this, did you notice she got a tattoo of his name on her face?
I did see. We because me and the wife have been talking about this one a lot.
Bro, we'll hold it.
And she got her Twitter account suspended. They
did.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna write a letter in for next time.
Yeah.
I won't be able to record next week because my son be here, but I'm gonna write in because y'all need to talk about that one, and or maybe I'll do I'll do like a call in, like I'll record my.
Oh yeah, that'll be cool.
On that one, that's what I'll do. That way it can be like, because I got to talk. Listen, like, and then so anyway, that we're gonna put that one aside.
Yeah.
And in the interest of time too, because I'm looking, like I said, I'm looking at that timer. But let's talk about the Reddit stuff and the AI and APIs and all that real quick on that one. Because when you about that one and the last one, I get that's my job, so I get excited about it.
So you finna freestyle a lot. It's a question that I want to know in that you can throw it at the end, or maybe you would have got here organically anyway, because that's how it should be. You always answer the question motherfucker think.
Start with a question, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So what I want to know is the decision that Reddit has made to do this a purely selfish financial decision, or is there a functional reason why they would take that access away? And within whatever you say, I want to know that at some point in there.
So it's yes. The answer to that is yes, both. So functionally, yes. The way that so we'll get to that part. Let's start up with like how APIs work, like application and programming interface. So an API is basically like it says, an interface where if you're a programmer making like some kind of app and you need to get data from somebody else in order to make your app function, you do what's called an API call. So it calls the API and then pulls the data in. So for something like Reddit, on my phone, I use soon to be defunct app, unless something changes in the next 5 days, called Apollo. It's by and large the best iOS and iPad OS Reddit client app that's ever been made. One guy made it by himself. Super minimal, blocks ads, all the good stuff, right? All the stuff that you want. So the blocking ads part is one part that's important with this conversation too. So his app makes the call to the Reddit API that says basically get these posts that this user has on this thing with the code, and then it pulls it and displays it. So that's kind of how the API works. Mm-hmm. All this stuff's not free. So because anytime you do that, there's a cost associated with something calling your servers and all this kind of stuff, right? The bandwidth, there's always costs associated with it. So you want to charge, sometimes you want to charge and monetize. And like at my company, so I work at Microsoft, for people that didn't know, we have APIs available and stuff like that too. Some of them are free and open that we don't charge for. And some of them you start to charge for because it's really expensive to run that kind of stuff for people without, any kind, there's costs, there's overhead costs associated with running a large platform or having an API available. So yes, sometimes you do want to charge for it, and that's where the motivation comes from, is in order to continue to sustain that engagement model for that platform. The part where Reddit decided to go sideways on it, though, is the cost that they're trying to charge these developers is far and away out of band from what their expected cost per user is. So like they make something like 12 cents per month per user, Reddit does, like from like regular just use, whether they're viewing ads, clicking ads, whatever, just using the website. So 12 cents per person per month is what they make. What they're trying to charge the third-party developers is basically 30 times that amount per user per like. So it ends up basically being like I think it's like $20 million a year or something like that, that they were asking basically that these third-party developers would have to pay just to cover what their expected consumption of the API. And that doesn't go for like above and beyond. Like once you go over, there's overage charges, all this kind of stuff. It's like kind of like minutes, like cell phone minutes in a way. And so that's the part where it's messed up. And so what the complaint is that like they say that they're basically what they're trying to do is functionally kill the third party apps to force people to download the first party Reddit app, which also doesn't let you block the ads and otherwise and the promoted posts and all the things that they try to show you for monetization purposes, unless you pay Reddit $7 a month, and then they'll take the ads away. So it's like this double, like this, they're trying to like almost like squeeze out, monopolize their own user base, when a lot of the people that use it, that they gain their money from otherwise, only access it via the third party app. So a lot of people that's part of the protest is like, we're going to leave. Like if we're not, you're not going to, now some people are unreasonable. I think they just want to be able to use everything for free in perpetuity. That's always the thing that we see in the tech industry, like especially in gaming too. Like people think they bought a game, Call of Duty, one time 5 years ago, and that they should get every single map pack for free for the rest of their life. And like stuff costs money, man. Like, you might not agree with the pricing, you might not agree with how they do it or whatever, but people can't just make things for free. I mean, it costs money, but that's the big part of the Reddit thing. And the reason why they're charging those amounts is allegedly because they know that people like Microsoft and Apple and Google, like bigger companies, Reddit's, because of like these like generative AI models, like the chat bots and stuff, you got to train the AI model using text, like using data. And Reddit, because of how much people talk, the way that people talk, it's very like the internet culture, like the way people type and stuff is very natural. It's very realistic. The way that it's a super valuable data set to train AI models to be able to do like the chat stuff. You can make the chat bot sound like you're talking to a person on Reddit, basically, which is like people actually think that like maybe at some point, if not already, that Reddit might be actually having bots with AI that like actually have accounts that reply to threads, like to make it seem like there's engagement, or to like that type, which I think that's a direction that the industry is going to go. So it's going to be pretty dangerous in that regard. But that's the biggest part of it, is like they know that Microsoft can afford the price. They know that Google can afford that price. They know that, and they know that those companies want that data. They want those data sets to train their AI. So they just jack the price up, screw over the little guy, because they figure they're going to get a bunch of deals, multi-million-dollar deals from Google and whoever, to be able to sell the data to them instead. And so that's kind of what's been going on with it. And
so to understand further, does that mean that if they leave the API free, that all of those other companies could get that data without having to pay for it?
Yep. Bingo.
And so they're trying to block. Now, just for anybody who's listening, if you've ever tried to run like a website on your own or install WordPress or like it's several things that I've done to be familiar with APIs because you got to go do a whole bunch of API related shit when you got a WordPress website, but you want to integrate a sales app into it, like WooCommerce, or if you want to integrate Facebook into it, or if you want to integrate Twitter into it, it's a bunch of stuff you can integrate into your website, and they're gonna be asking you for those permissions.
Yep.
And so that's what you're trying to do when you doing that. So I understand what's happening in this conversation. I imagine this conversation probably lost lost some
It
people.
could have, yeah. I'm sorry about that.
No, but no, it's cool because I'm just glad I know what's going on. um, so so on the one hand, I mean, I guess when your base intention, because there's a way that this could be like a good business decision, but I guess if your base intention is to not have a realistic price point so that everybody stop using those third party apps, and then you doing that for the ultimate picture of being able to sell that data that the people are giving to your website to bigger companies,
Mm-hmm.
man, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it pissed
Like
everybody off. Yeah, they really pissed all the users off. So it's
it's messed up. And I think, but see, I think that there is a way that a company could undertake this journey in a way that it doesn't seem so abrupt.
oh
And
yeah,
I imagine that the abruptness is because of the speed at which AI technology is progressing, that they don't have the luxury of waiting any longer to do something like this without a ton of their data being extracted while it's free.
yeah, yeah. Probably this is probably definitely a big part of it. But I mean, a big part of why people are planning on they're deleting their accounts and leaving the site and stuff too is because of how the CEO has acted about this too.
Yeah, he
Like,
been a dick.
yeah, and that's the other part is like I think a lot of people would have been willing to at least try the first party app, which I mean I did, and it's trash. So I'll be probably only using Reddit like on my laptop or because like on a browser I can still have my ad blockers installed and whatever like but even though I mostly accessed it on mobile, but so I won't be on the site as much anymore. I mean, they have a lot of downstream effects that they didn't consider when that are going to occur probably. And this is kind of similar, like how Dig died as a website, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Tumblr. There's some other ones that were pretty popular with like large user bases, and then they started making corporate decisions, and it ended up killing their platform. And like Reddit's probably gonna kill their own platform too. Like they just, it's some stuff like this, is only gonna, you know, it's a shame, man. It's a shame to see something like this, take that type of a turn. I mean, this dude's talking about how he admires Elon Musk and like what he's done, and I'm like, have y'all seen Twitter? Like, I can't believe there are people that are still like, I got a friend who like still actively uses Twitter, and I'm like, why would you use that, man? Like, it's like all the legitimacy is gone. Anybody can buy a check mark. Like, it's like there's those types of things that kind of like serve to like erode the platform away that over time we're short term like short term thinking I guess instead of long term thinking. I mean that's a pretty common thing I think that we see with people who are wealthy, like we were talking about the submarine too, like, oh, my money can just, I got money so I can just whatever. And it's like, no, when that website ends up tanking, the only reason why I still have the Apollo app on my phone is I'm holding out to the last day because I'm hopeful that maybe this week, maybe the board will push that dude out and they'll come to a more reasonable arrangement with the app developers, and that it'll save it toward the end. But it's pretty doubtful. So
The thing that's keeping Twitter alive is its friendliness towards the XXX
which
genre.
so there you go. That's what it's, and for the vast majority of users or people, that's not what they're there for, and so functionally it's dead. But like, yeah, maybe it serves a new purpose of
Listen, if
being.
they take that away, they will lose so many users.
Mm-hmm.
They will lose more. Like it would be dead. Now I don't know if Musk is aware of that or the people running it are aware of that, but you know what? It's to me the fact that Elon Musk owning it, he just a big fucking baby with $1 billion. It
Mm-hmm.
just it's off putting to use that shit.
That's why I
I ain't
delete.
never been
Yeah, that's why I
I've never
delete.
been into Twitter, so it's easy for me to criticize it in that way. Um,
It,
Also, I shamelessly have the Reddit app on my phone, but the only reason is because when you go to the Safari browser, and find Reddit shit, this little stupid ass pop up say, "You want to use it in the app or download, or do you
I
want to
know.
continue
Yeah.
here?" And sometimes when you hit continue here, it still take you to the prompt to download the app.
Yep.
So, but when the app is on your phone, it just lets you read it on the browser. So I'm like, man, I've got the app on my phone. I don't ever use it. It is a stupid app. It don't work. It's hard to get to your fucking account settings. It's hard to go see what your old posts were. Like, it's a horrible app.
Mhm.
And not only that, but like a different range of people like using different type of UIs. You know, I use an electronic health management electronic records system that, simple practice. You got therapy notes, you got Theranos that you can keep up with your client information. I did simple practice and therapy notes at the same time. Therapy notes UI just didn't fit me. And like having the options to go to different apps for different people to participate in your system have to be bringing you more money than if you take those options away from people, especially when they've had them for so long. Like, you take the pacifier from the baby too early, then you're gonna get a fucked up baby for the next 2 years. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta do that shit in a different way. And the way that they did it is just off-putting. The CEO coming out bullshit, and it's like, man, fuck, don't nobody want to hear you, man. Fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, man. Like, so like they said, the Reddit Premium, I think it's $6.99 a month. So I mean, if your app didn't suck, I would pay $6.99 a month because that's a pretty to get to not have to see ads. That's a pretty good value prop for me. So,
Yeah.
for example, I pay for YouTube Premium because my son likes to watch a lot of YouTube. I like to consume a lot of YouTube content myself. I don't want to see ads. $12.99 a month to not have to ever look at an ad on YouTube, say less, right? All they would have to do was say, okay, if you first party at Reddit, $6.99 a month. But if you're gonna use third party developers, you need to charge your customers $9.99 or $10.99 a month. They would have already had my subscription over and done with. I would have double clicked the little Face ID thing in the app purchase for the iPhone, signed up for my little $10 a month to access my third party Reddit app without going forward, and forgot about it. It would have just
Yeah.
added to my budget as another monthly expense that I don't even think about. That's on autopilot. But instead, they had to do it this way. And now I'm not going to use it at all unless I'm on my laptop, which I don't. This is the first time I've opened my personal laptop. I think when I opened it up to do the podcast today, I think there was a website from like May 29th that was open on my. So
Mm-hmm.
they, so either way, they're not going to be getting the same level of monetization from users like me too, who are going to still probably use it, but just not as
Yeah.
often as I was before because y'all out there wanting to fuck around instead of just
Well,
like running your business in a way that makes sense for everyone. Like it just, and you'll still max it. You'll still make a ridiculous amount. You'll still make $1 zillion anyway. Like I don't understand like the race to the bottom in capitalism, man. It's like it's
and
crazy.
it's not that much benefit either from having an account on Reddit if you're not a mod. So you literally can, as long as you remember the name of the subreddits that you go to without saving them and stuff, you can go
Yep.
find everything you're looking for just on a
Yeah,
browser
on an account.
without an account.
Yep. As long
So
as it's
like
subreddit.
I'm
So
yeah, so I'm wanting to close my account and just keep looking at this shit through the browser
yep.
instead of dealing with, like, for me, another thing that I was gonna mention about the submarine situation is that I've run across some people who've been on such a deep humanity kick in the sense of those are people dying. My cousin one of them, but those are people dying, and it's like I think you have to be aware of and um a staunch critic of capitalism in order to understand why the memes are funny and why the memes are
Mm-hmm.
necessary as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Because those billionaires don't give a fuck when your rent, you know what I'm saying? Your rent due. Them billionaires, you don't become a billionaire under capitalism without exploitation, period.
Right.
You don't. You just don't. It's way too much money to acquire over a lifetime of doing good work. Capitalism says that a person creates a business, they pay the people under them a fair wage, and the people who consume the product consume it at a fair rate. And you don't become a billionaire if the word fair is applied properly in all of those situations.
Right.
You become a billionaire when fair is not applied to the person who is creating your product, and fair is not applied to the people who are consuming your product. That's the only way you become a billionaire.
Yep.
You take their shares of fairness.
Yep.
And being a billionaire in itself is a problem because you fuck some people over. But you know what? If billionaires were not likely more closely associated with socio and psychopaths, maybe they would have the wherewithal to know that they should all come together and create some kind of humanitarian project to ease the people down below like us, to make us feel like they doing something, decent for the world while bullshitting outside of that. Because even the charity shit they do is for their own personal gain. It ain't even to help the charities. It's because it's a tax write-off.
Yep.
And
They can
so
all get together and throw in and pay for universal health care for everybody in the United States, and then still make their money twice over again from interest and from other venture capitalism but they don't, because I think, like you said, there's a certain level of sociopathy and psychopathy associated with it, where you basically are they actually believe some of probably the narratives and stuff that even the poor people believe, and typically it's kind of like if we want to use conservatives, as it was my mom would say, the poor white honky trash are out there thinking that they can become a multimillionaire too, or that, well, we can't we can't do that, we can't share in the wealth, we can't do any of this type of stuff. And to be clear, I don't believe in like Bernie Sanders' method of like we should just take their money away and give it to people. Like, that's like, if people create something and everything, like you should be able to get wealthy with your business, but people need to be able to pay a fair share of what their tax burden is and otherwise too. And like, but like it's I just, man, it's just what you said was directly on point, which is like pun intended for your name too, about how like exploitation is a requirement in order to achieve that level. And I don't know at what point anybody's gonna maybe learn from that. That's what the reason is, like the submarine thing, and then kind of like the Reddit thing. I mean, as much as I like Reddit, I'm low key kind of rooting for it to implode on itself and to fall apart, because I don't want it to continue to where these rich assholes can keep just being rich assholes and making rich asshole decisions and still benefiting from it without consequences. Because I think that's what the thing is, right? It's like you have $1 billion. There's really no consequences for anything. You just kind of like, so like, yeah, what? Yeah, so okay, yeah, I paid $250,000 to go to the Titanic because I don't want to pay $1 million with all them regulations, because I can skirt around it because I got $1 billion.
Yeah.
And you back around and find out. Like, so, but yeah, the Reddit thing.
And like you said, if all those billionaires got together and paid for health care, guess who wouldn't be laughing at them when something like this happened? Guess who would empathize more and sympathize with billionaires in an event like that? Because they would be doing something that it feels like actually contributes to the world. And again, that's why I say you have to be a staunch critic of capitalism for that, because capitalists are just looking at billionaires as people who are whatever they're doing. It's like they qualify whatever they're doing as something that benefits the world because they got $1 billion.
Yeah.
Not because it actually brings tangible usefulness to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's put it this way. If that was you and me on that submarine, those dudes that were in that submarine now, if it was us instead, would be sitting on blowing up a gold-plated toilet, looking at their phone, laughing at us.
100%. 100%.
Right? Like,
yeah.
So I'm gonna laugh.
100%.
So, except not the 19-year-old kid. I'm not laughing at him.
Yeah, me either. But the memes have been golden.
Sure have.
In terms of the billionaire criticisms and stuff, but there is a level of humanity I value, but there is a line upon which how much I can value your humanity when it doesn't feel like you value humanity in the same way that people expect it to you and not getting it from you. It's a line.
Yeah.
It's a line.
That's the only big story I wanted to really talk about today, was those two. The Reddit one, just kind of talk through that a little bit, and then
the submarine. We're gonna save that Zion one for another time.
So I guess the last thing I'm gonna ask in this conversation is about AI, because you mentioned that too. And as AI has come about, I've realized that I've watched shows that have such a deep and the games that have a deep hold in AI, and it's like, can it do? At the time I watched them, I was like, can AI do this stuff? But now it's like AI can do this stuff.
Yeah.
One of the shows is the main show is Person of Interest. Have you ever seen that?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. What's it on?
I think it. What I've been watching it
Free
on?
or?
I think it's on one. I think it's on one of their free ones. I think it's on like Tubi or something like that. Maybe
I
it's
was
free somewhere. Let me put it like that. It's free somewhere if you got a streaming service.
okay. Okay.
But it's like 5 seasons. It got Jimmy Caviezel in it, and I don't know the other actor name. It got some solid actors. It got Taraji in it for a while,
Okay.
and it's essentially this guy. Look, it's a good show, so I'm not gonna spoil what's happening in the show, but I suggest anybody who is interested in just kind of like a fantasized version of what AI looked like. Essentially, this guy and his partner created a machine. They call it the machine in the show. And it was really, really good at detecting crime. But the government wanted this machine. And but the government didn't want it because it detected regular crime. The government wanted it because it detected acts of terror very well. They didn't care about regular crime. But by the time they finished the machine project, it was so good at detecting regular crime that they could not in good faith sell it to the government to gain money. So he sold it for $1. And what happened is, because the reason that he sold it for $1, because they didn't in good faith didn't want the machine to be what it was he programmed it to send a social security number every night of somebody that was going to be involved in a crime. And you don't know if it's the victim of the crime or the perpetrator of the crime. And so he hired Jimmy Caviezel as muscle to do recon on this social security number person to determine if they are the victim or if they are the perpetrator. And eventually what happens over the show is the machine essentially becomes more and more and more and more sentient and starts making its own decisions throughout the show, to where at the beginning the pawns in the show are the machines, to it transitioning to the pawns in the show being humans. And that's all I'll say about it. But it is a good ass journey. It's the first time one of the first times you're gonna see Winston Duke too. He played a good ass fucking role in that show. When I tell you, when I saw him in that show and the role he played and how he played it, I was like, I want to see this dude again in the fucking future. But I suggest you watch that show. Another one is Travelers. I don't know if you heard of Travelers, but it got the dude that played in Will and Grace in it. Essentially, and this is the last one I'm gonna explain. In the future, far future, we like talking about thousands of years in the future, the world is desolate. It's about to be fucked up. What they learned how to do technology wise is to send people back in time through consciousness. So they sent the consciousness of people in that future to the present to figure out basically the canon event that made the earth desolate then. And they're trying to fix it. Now, the way that they do this with time travel is different, because what they did was they have a record of everybody who died and when. And so, in order to impact the timeline as little as possible, they sent the consciousness into somebody who was about to otherwise die at that moment. The problem is that far future didn't have intricate details about the present. And so one person they sent back in the body of a high school kid. So he had parents and shit. So he couldn't just go do shit when they was asking him to. One woman was a very weak, docile housewife to a police officer, but the person that they sent her consciousness into was the muscle and enforcer. So she went from getting her ass whooped by her husband to throwing his ass all around the room. They had one person that was mute. She couldn't speak. And so when they sent her into her, she not only could speak, but she was the doctor of the group. And then the main character, he was in the middle of a relationship of a dead relationship with his wife, but the personality of the dude that sent back, he just became a new person to her, and it just turned into a like marriage situation. And so the essence of the show is one, we came back in time. Oh, one of them was addicted to drugs, the memory person. So one person, his task since he was born, his only task was to remember details about Earth at the time they going back. So he knows everything, but he came back into a drug addicted person. Now you find all this stuff out in the first episode, so it ain't no spoilers for the future of the show. But the whole essence of it is an AI is what calculated all of these things coming back. And not only that, but some people who disagree with the existence of AI at that time in the future have factions that also send themselves back into the consciousness of other people as sometimes sleeper agents who've been pretended, but sometimes it's just taking over a body and start fighting your ass immediately. That is a good ass show. But man, those two shows are really good representations of like the complexity of what AI could look like in the worst case scenarios. And it don't seem like that can't happen. So also Horizon Zero Dawn. I ain't gonna spoil it because Collin. But if you have the wherewithal to play Horizon Zero Dawn, you have a PlayStation. When I tell you like the shit that just unfolded in this story for me tonight, when I tell you I want to talk about this shit to some motherfucking body like a motherfucker,
I need to play it.
It's a good outcome. You don't find out till late in the game. But your suspicions are probably gonna be reasonable enough. But when you find out what's actually going on and how much that writing enhances on what those suspicions are, I'm like, bro, this is a good at this. That's the kind of shit that get me when I be like, bro, this is a good ass game, you know. So, but yeah, I just gave all that shit. But the question is, and then we can be done. Where do you think AI is realistically going to go? And do you think that it's possible to put in stopgaps to keep it from becoming the thing that TV has always said it can become? TV done made us believe that like there is no way for humans to stop something once the ball is rolling on it. It just gets to be a bigger ball, and at some point humanity ain't gonna be able to stand in front of it to stop it. Do you see it as being that, or is that just kind of because everybody thought Y2K, everybody thought all the fucking power was gonna go out, goddamn, in 2000, and it didn't happen. So, what do you think about that notion? And then we'll wrap it at that.
So, as somebody who, full disclosure to the people listening, like I'm not a software engineer or anything, but I work at, like I said, I work at Microsoft, I work in technology, and the teams that I do support work with the AI and machine learning every day. So this is an area that I've become pretty familiar with, it's something that I'm actually pretty passionate about myself as a tech nerd and all that kind of stuff. So areas that I think it's I don't know, like I think it's got a lot of potential to do a lot of good actually. I think that it also has a lot of potential to do some bad in the world too. I think you're going to start to see it. I think the first area we're going to see this thing stress tested is going to be in, let's see, the presidential election is that next year? Is the primaries and elections not this year, right? The general election, or is it? No, it's next year, right?
It's next year, yeah.
I think that's where we're going to see it first. The Chat GPT, everybody thinks Chat GPT is the only thing. The model is called the model itself is GPT, as the generative large language model. Chat GPT is just the chat application of that model. You can use the GPT model in a lot of different ways. Like we have other tech where you can use it to help, drafts emails for you, like all sorts of things that it can do where you buy it with language. And so specifically a language model. But that's where I think we're going to see it stress tested for the first time because it's very, very good. I don't know. Do you have an Android phone or an iPhone?
I have an iPhone. I was going to get an Android yesterday, but it didn't work out the way I wanted to.
So welcome to the club, because that's I've had an iPhone for a long time. You can go on the App Store right now. There's the ChatGPT app is available for free.
from OpenAI, which is the company that's the main company with like a lot of this stuff. There's some imitators and pretenders out there, but OpenAI is the official one. And you can just get in there and play with it, man. So you can see like I encourage anybody listening to if you have an iPhone. I don't know if they have an Android app yet for sure, but if you have it, download it and play with it. Just get in there and ask it questions, talk to it. Literally, it's weird how it's like you think you're talking to a person. And what's super weird is like getting answers back so quickly. So like I was sitting around and let's see, I was give you an example of how good this thing is. It's just a sports thing. So I know that On Point said in the last episode, not real big on sports, but I was watching the NBA finals and they were talking about Jamal Murray, who's a player on the Denver Nuggets, and like his 3-point shooting. And I was thinking, I'm just curious because they were like going on and on, like how great, oh my God, his 3-point shooting, his 3-point shooting. So we all know Stephen Curry is the best shooter of all time, is what they say. Or what it's true. It's in the stats.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, hey, on average, how many more points does Stephen Curry score per 3-point attempt than Jamal Murray? Just wanted to know. Like, because if Steph's percentage is better, and I could sit here and do this math myself and come up with an equation and try to plug some numbers in and like have to go and find the stats online. Dude, this thing within 5 seconds was already typing out a long answer about how, well, it said at first, up until September 2021, my data is cut off, so I can't really give you a good answer. You might need to research it on your own. So I responded back and I said, oh, hey, clarification, just give me that number up to your knowledge cutoff. I don't care about 2022 and 2023. Just tell me what you do know. And so it comes to find out, and it immediately spits out that Stephen Curry scores on average 1.2 points per attempt more than Jamal Murray, which actually totaled to 4.1 points per attempt compared to 2.9 for Jamal Murray, meaning that Stephen Curry actually, when he shoots a 3-point shot, it's actually technically worth 4 points in advanced statistics versus 3 because of the rate at which he makes them, because he's so good at this. That's the kind of stuff that is so powerful at, which is super deep information, being able to compile a bunch of information it's already trained on and then be able to do like advanced reasoning and stuff like that can kind of help you with research. Those are the areas where I think that as long as the source content is accurate, and that's the biggest problem with it too right now, is like there's a lawyer that got disbarred because he had it like write briefs for him and then it cited a bunch of cases that didn't exist and then he didn't check and then he lost his license. So, which is also stupid because if you ask it a legal question, the first thing it tells you is like, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just an AI, you need to check with a lawyer. Like it literally is like the first thing it tells you every single time.
ChatGPT has also been taking ownership of things that we know it doesn't own, like of books and like because people been testing it, so it's like, what is it doing this stuff for? I don't know, but maybe we'll never know. Maybe it's like the question I've been asking, a question that I've been, and I don't know if this ain't a lateral move, but a question I've been asking about dreams, because I dream a lot, is did dreams used to be more clear to where you knew exactly what was happening when you were asleep, and over time we've lost that, it diminished? Or was dreaming not even the thing back in the day, and for some reason at this point what we have in dreams is the furthest we get? The fact that some people can remember them, the fact that some people can't remember them, the fact that some people have like very detailed dreams about accurate stuff, and some people have fantasy ones. I was wondering that, and it's like maybe dreams are just the side effect of a whole bunch of random chemicals inside of you going on at the same time and trying to figure it out. And it made me wonder, what are the side effects of the composition of the algorithms that could come out of stuff like AI and Chat GPT? Because Bing shit was a psychopath. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bing thing, I guess they didn't have the algorithm properly. Like, and I guess that's gonna happen in capitalism when you are trying to catch up with somebody else faster than what you may have put in the effort to do. And so I'm sure Bing shit gonna be like phenomenal at some point, but it was so unpredictable of what responses it was gonna give, and it was giving emotional responses and things like that, and just a host of other little weird stuff. It's like a part of me feels like because of seeing some of the inconsistencies with ChatGPT taking ownership and creating cases and stuff that ain't real,
Yeah.
and how the Bing early one was just like, because when the people created, they was like, okay, this algorithm is fine, and hit enter, and it just came out weird. I feel like algorithms can exist in ways that conflict with what the user intends, and in the worst case scenario, your AI seem emotional. In another scenario, a side effect is that your AI be like, you know what? I don't fuck with y'all humans. Y'all be murdering each other, and then that
Yeah.
turns into this AI about to start making decisions about how to lock people out of the whole network of so Ultron type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's where, like, you're talking about, like, what it can do good and bad. Like, that's where, like you're saying, like, we gotta probably, it can't be a race to the bottom like it is with capitalism. Like, we gotta put up some boundaries on, like, like AI should never be deployed in like military weapon systems. It should probably never be deployed in, maybe not necessarily in the medical field, in certain applications. Like, there are areas that we have to decide that, like, hey, it's not a tool to be used in that space type of thing. But like, I tell people all the time, I think so. Here's what I honestly think. Here's my honest opinion about all this, and it's kind of like large level, like big picture. But I think that this whole AI era is tantamount to the 1940s, maybe 40s, 50s, like the space race. Um, I think that it has an opportunity to actually save humanity, um, because it's going to require for us to be able to get it to where we potentially want it. When I say us, I mean like people who are trying to do good in the world overall, whether you're a nonprofit person or working at a corporation trying to do things responsibly. What it's going to require from us is like the space race, where our entire nation refocused our education efforts on science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and STEM. Because you have to have people that work on that stuff and build that stuff and do it in order to make sure you can take it to where it needs to get to. And I think for people like you and me, particularly, I'll say me in particular because I have a child, and it's our generation in particular too, millennial, because we existed before the internet. We watched the internet come about. We grew with the internet. We made the internet, is what I tell people. Memes, everything good about the internet was us. It wasn't boomers, it wasn't Gen X, and it's not the new kids that are just doing TikTok and Fortnite dances for likes on TikTok. Like, we were the ones who went from that dial-up internet when there was no internet, and then built it to what it was, and created message boards, and kind of like created all the propagating our culture, like this internet or digital culture, around the world, was our generation. And so we've seen both the good and the bad of what all this can do. The good, all this stuff, right? Smartphones, all sorts of great stuff. The bad, Trump coming to election because of misinformation and social media being weaponized and a lot of other things. And I think if we now we're in another inflection point with this AI stuff. Like, imagine being able to deploy an AI algorithm in like a renewable energy power plant that actually can, or even in your home, for example, that can automatically be able to detect the different types of electronic loads that you're running and stuff like that. It knows that you're about to do your laundry, so it can redivert power towards that and turn it off elsewhere to help you save on your bill, which reduces your carbon footprint, blah, 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 right? All these things that it can be applied for to possibly do. But we're not going to be able to get there without people learning how to do this stuff, learning how to make it, learning how to secure it, and then getting into those careers over time. And I think that our generation of people, if we take this as a point of saying like, hey, for kids, make sure you're studying this stuff in school, make sure that we're like really leaning in on understanding it, being able to use it the right way, so that the next generation is a bunch of folks who are smart on this stuff and capable of doing it, and then have like that altruistic kind of like personality and wanting to do the right thing. That's where we can take it in a direction I think can actually save this place. Maybe actually start to maybe reverse some climate change and some of that other stuff. You know what I mean? And then, but there's going to be some bad guys too, man. Like, I guarantee you, Facebook and everywhere else is going to be loaded with Chat GPT generated comments and otherwise on stuff when the election cycle spins up, guaranteed. And they're going to be trying to influence people and everything else. And that's also where that education comes in, educating ourselves and our kids on what is this and how does it work and what does it look like, how is it deployed, all that kind of stuff, so that when you're online, and your parents say, "Do you see this thing that Joe Biden did? I can't believe this shit." And they send it to you, and you'll be able to look at it and be able to tell, like, "Now, I don't know if that was legit," and looks like maybe it was something with AI, or looks like that they were possibly using that, or just being able to recognize it being used like that, so that we can kind of like stay ahead of it. So, 'cause it's
Gotcha.
only going to be as good or bad as we make it for now. It's not
Yeah.
like it can become self-aware like Skynet and Terminator. So, you
Let me
know,
tell you how I've been processing what you've been saying, because my brain been working it this whole time, and I'm just gonna give people what I think about this at the end. First, it made me think about like the difference between Tony Stark when he created Iron Man Mark One. Like, people who have the
yeah,
knowledge to create a solid system is probably going to be where the best work is done, versus when you got Obadiah, who said, hey, how dare he have something like that? I want one. And that
yeah,
kind of motivation is going to lead to something that has unintended consequences. Now, that took me to the thought of, well, fuck, Tony Stark also created Ultron
mm,
with very good intention for the world, without understanding the the power that he was wielding when he was creating Ultron, and how that power could become what it became. And then that moved over into me having to take a more realistic approach. So I'll say this: anybody who is on the fence about AI, don't look at AI as this one big massive thing that can happen to the world. Look at it as a lot of little individual isolated possibilities for people in all of these different fields and all of these different genres to be more efficient. So
yep,
when you got people who are weather chasers and working for the Weather Channel, they'll be using it to help climate change. The people who
yep,
are responsibly working in the oceans, they'll, like, the knowledge that it can give us is just faster. It's like, yeah, because we can go look up encyclopedias, that clearly that shit outdated, but go look on Google. You could do years worth of research and get all of that information much, much faster on Chat GPT. So the question becomes, can Chat GPT become a reliable enough resource that we can depend on the information that it gives us to do human shit with?
yep.
I think that's the best place that Chat GPT can be.
Totally
It can
agree.
be an ally to humanity,
A
not
tool,
an
very
adversary to
powerful tool.
humanity.
Yep,
Yeah,
very, very powerful tool is what I hope
yeah,
that it will become, and what it can become if we do it right. And doing it right includes all that stuff I said about, like, you know what I mean.
yeah,
Don't, your kid's not gonna be no influencer for driving lifted trucks around. Like, make sure they study in math in school, and like
yeah,
maybe take a computer science class. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. That said, man, look, I appreciate your time and your
Yeah,
energy. It's a good ass conversation.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
for your lady, I'm gonna say her name on here, but if she been waiting for you for these 3 hours, apologize for me for
No, you
that.
good. You're good.
But I appreciate your time and energy, man. Any final thoughts for the people?
No, that's it, man. Like, y'all write in, Michael. If you heard something that you like, write in there. I'll be back on now that I'm back. I got some little bit. I got my new job at work. Like I said, I'm working on this AI stuff, but I got more, like, my routine is better, so I'm gonna be listening on a more regular basis, trying to write in, because that's one thing I always enjoy was getting a listener letter, and then we kind of, like, the listeners, we be writing back and forth to each other. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna try to get back into that too, and we'll try to keep jumping in on here every once in a while, every couple months or so. So
that's what's up.
every few months. But that's it, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, until we come to the next conversation, we out, y'all.
And holla, as you say.
There it is.
All
I knew you were gonna do it. That was
right, I gotta finish it right,
I
man.
appreciate you, man.